Hey there, I'm in my dorm in Switzerland, and I'm here to tell you about my local artifacts. So for this one, I chose specifically alcohol because my topic interest is alcohol. So I decided to pick a couple of core uh, drinks that I thought would represent kind of the local area of Zurich. And so I chose specifically beer and white wine. So beer is super popular in Switzerland. It's right next to Germany, which has some of the best beer in the world. It actually wasn't drinking here until 1880, and this is because all of the wine was the vineyards were wiped out by a disease, so they had to start making something new. And so for the white wine, they've been drinking it since the Roman times, which you can clearly see in the culture. You put the white wine in fondue. Fondue is a very like common food for people to eat because there's so many cows. Um, and yeah, I thought it would be a really fun way to look at my country, so that's why I chose alcohol. Right now, in the Christmas markets, you have Glühwein, which is like mulled wine, so that's something I'll have to try still. But for the first question, um, I want to talk about how Vaya is not saying that globalization is bad. What is he saying? Well, I have a quote from his article that says, yes, globalization can produce homogeneity, but globalization is also a threat to homogeneity. And I think that was very true. I mean, in Zurich, you're seeing all sorts of people come together. And yes, maybe it does look a lot like, Chicago. Maybe it has similarities. You can still go to a Burger King and McDonald's, but you're also seeing like the most crazy combination of, demographics ever. There's people from all around the world, all over Europe. There's people from Asia, from the West, like me studying, schools, people working. It's just everything. So yes, maybe there is homogeneity, but there's also intense heterogeneousness as well. And so, how does he define authenticity? In his words, he said, authenticity is now just amounts to telling other people what they ought to value in their own traditions. Now, that is a little cynical, but he's basically talking about how we cannot afford to subsidize indefinitely thousands of distinct islands of homogeneity that no longer make any economic sense, just because they're so-called authentic. And authenticity is something that's definitely hard to determine. Um, it's basically like threading the needle between what is maybe your own personal interests of what you value, what you find authentically valuable, um, versus what the actual people who themselves practice this culture, what they think. So it's very complicated, and I agree. I think it is. It's not as simple as just finding something cool that you find another culture doing and seeing it's going away and saying, okay, we need to protect this authentic culture. Um, the world is always changing, and there's a lot of gray area that makes decisions like this very, very hard. So UNESCO, has a lot of work to figure out what the best choices are. How does my artifact reflect or reject these ideas of authenticity? So I liked a term he used called primordially authentic culture. So I wouldn't consider alcohol here primordially authentic. Yes, they've been doing it since Roman time. They've been drinking wine. But these days, I mean, you walk into a liquor store and you can see, alcohol from everywhere in the world. And yes, I think there is something maybe partly primordially authentic in the fact that people are using the liquor in similar ways, to connect with each other. Maybe take a shot before you go skiing just so you can stay warm. There's definitely like something there. Just because maybe a multinational organization is selling it to you, it might still have some of that authentic culture. So that's my take. And then how does my artifact reflect or reject ideas of globalization? So, I mean, as I said, there's the same alcohol everywhere, and it's definitely more economically sound to do it this way. To you know, create a drink en masse is a lot cheaper, and people will be able to afford it more. Um, and people have had more access to drinks than ever before. I mean, they've had more access to different types of drinks. And I liked a quote from a pie that said, "You'll probably be able to find a bottle of Guinness or Coca Cola, as well as Star or Club, Ghana's own fine lagers. But has access to these things made the place more homogenous or less?" So even he's not really sure. I think what he says is that what can you tell about people's souls from the fact that they drink Coca-Cola? That's not a very clear. There's no clear answer to that, and I think that's generally the idea. I mean, there's definitely homogeneity in what people drink, but does that necessarily mean everything's globalized? Not so sure. So that's my opinion about alcohol in Switzerland. Um, I think there's definitely as Pai says, contamination. I mean, there's just a hodgepodge, a bit of this, a bit of that, in terms of alcohol here. But there's no doubt that there's still utopianism in all of the mixture of these alcohols, just as there can be mixture of culture to reach that as well. So thank you.